know what it is. Is this one working? Oh, I guess so. Okay. It's not working. Good afternoon, or still morning yet? Good morning. My name is Deborah Sluiskin. I resided in Tacoma, Washington most of my life in the Yakima Indian Reservation. And my parents were Annie Sampson from Upper Skagit, Samish area. We were relocated down here in the Tacoma area. My father is Lakota from over Fort Peck Reservation. And one of the things that we came here for today is to be able to speak about the Indian child welfare. One of the things that we've noticed is many of the tribes here in Washington and all over different parts of the United States are dealing with the Indian child welfare. And what's happening is our children are being taken away. Our children are into homes. I know there is a number of cases that are all different. But one of the things that isn't happening is they're not being put into native homes. The loss of culture, language, and our traditions that have been carried on from the beginning of time have been handed down from generation to generation. And one of the things that concerns me is that I too have family, my own granddaughters, that haven't been given a chance from the time they were born. No matter what the parents did to jump through the hoops to try to get their children back, has always faced a brick wall. They don't come to the families. A lot of times what's happening in the homes is the mother was breastfeeding, this one incident. She missed one class. With that one class that she had missed, the police came up a few days later, grabbed her 2-month-old baby, and took her away, a breastfed baby. She was doing everything she was supposed to do, but because of that one class that she had missed, she had had her baby taken away. So these are some of the things that really concern me, because one of the things that happens with the children, once they leave the home, it's impossible to get some of these children back. And it's happening. From our elders told us for many years, don't ever turn your children in. Don't ever turn somebody's children in unless there's an absolute need. But make sure you have that plan for the backup, for people that's going to take care of that child. Because once they're in that system, they lose their identity. One of the things that's happening is the culture and the language being lost, because they're not taught, they're not being brought to our coastal gatherings and to our powwows, the traditions that's been carried down. And so this is not only happening, with our children, but many children all over. But one of the things I'm concerned about is that children that are our first peoples here on this land, they're not given a chance because of the fact that they're worth more money than any other race here in this United States. And so they tend to keep our children because of money. Well, that's a genocide, and I think it needs to be addressed. Our grandmothers in the Lakota Law Project are working on that. They're going up further to DC for this issue. I think it's well needed here in Washington State also. So I just wanted to say that much, and I wanted to introduce a sister who had dealt with this issue. And many of our parents deal with this issue of their children being taken away. It splits up our families. It discourages our children. There's many issues that we face along with this, but the story that's going to be told today with my sister Marjorie, I can't even talk too much about it because it really hurts my feelings to know what had happened. And it happens to many children. So this is Marjorie Wells, and I want to thank you for listening. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
First, I'd like, if there's anybody that's a representative from NICWA or ICW, could you step forward, please? Anyone that's a social worker, worked in ICW, or any representative, or anybody from legislative or Congress. I have a picture of my son up here. I want people to see how precious he was. Hello, my name is Saad Litza, come from the house of Slanai. My English name is Marjorie Wells. I am the daughter of the late Wilson Woodrow Wells, Jr. And I'm the daughter of Gloria Fairchild. On October 7, 1997, at 5:49 a.m., I was blessed with my second son, Eugene John Jackson, Jr. Every detail I remember. He weighed 9 pounds, 14 ounces, and was 22.5 inches long. Had hardly no hair. I enjoyed my son as he grew. He was an active little guy and was into everything and was curious, very curious. My children were removed from me under false accusations. It was proved medically that they were not harmed. Still, I stayed in the system for years. I battled for my children, never giving up. Went through 4 psych evals, 7 chemical dependency assessments, numerous parenting classes, done numerous UAs, random UAs. Went to all visitations with no help, sometimes walking to see my kids for miles. This is my dedication to my children. My son went for a visit with family, and again false accusations were made, and again my son was removed from me, just him. And months later my son fell under foster care through the tribe. I was never informed, nor was I ever informed from the transfer from one tribe to another that was made. Then came the threats of parental termination. I battled that. Long story short, my son was denied visitation with me under false stories and lies, and also his siblings were denied visitation or any contact whatsoever. Years went by because I was told my son didn't want to see me or his siblings, and I didn't want to disturb his life because of the length of time he was with his placement. So I backed off giving this information. Later I was contacted by my son via Facebook. We talked, and all the stuff I and my son was told was lies. My son wanted to see me for years and was told I wasn't healthy. Lies again. On October 26, 2012, I was called by the grandfather on the dad's side crying. I was like, what's wrong? Then I was told my son committed suicide. I was totally devastated and angry. I was told the day after. These people knew how to contact me. My son was depressed because he was taken from the only home he loved, the push, where he was culturally involved and loved his traditions, and was moved to Mukilteo and placed in a Christian school. Culture shock for sure. He made pleas to go back home and was ignored. He asked for visitations with me and his siblings and was ignored. My son made the permanent trip home. I will never see my son again in this world. I will never hold my son again in this world. I will never be able to speak to my son again in this world. All I have is our memories and chat I saved on Facebook, which I still message him. The Indian Child Welfare Act failed. My son failed my family, failed my children. My hopes is that ICW and the National Indian Child Welfare Association recognizes this, and hopefully somebody somewhere will hear this, and that please make tribes accountable when their ICW workers don't do their job and they fail to listen to our children. Hold them accountable. They are ruining future generations and annihilating our own children. The Indian Child Welfare Act is to ensure that families stay intact. It was not the case here or for others involved in ICW at this moment. So my pleas are, please, National Indian Child Welfare Association, ICW and any of the tribes, please ensure that another child doesn't have to go to extremes to be heard, and work with families. It's your job to ensure that this happens. Thank you, the mother of Eugene John Jackson Jr. May my son rest in peace. Born 10/7/97 to 10/25/12. You know, it's pretty hard for me to get up here and speak on this. And I just hope somebody can hear this story and take it home with them and remember this, that our children are suffering. They are suffering, and it's not being recognized. They're our future generation. This is what we're giving them to bring forward to the future. So please, this is the poem that I have on my son's memorial cards. Missing you always. You never said I'm leaving. You never said goodbye. You were gone before we knew it, and only God knows why. A million times I needed you. A million times I cried. If love alone could have saved you, you never would have died. In life I loved you dearly. In death I love you still. In my heart I hold a place that only you can fill. It broke my heart to lose you, but you didn't go alone, as part of me went with you the day God took you home. Thank you.
Oh. Really, give her, acknowledge the strength that Jeff is right now. I want to give this mother some cedar to help carry her. It doesn't take away the sting of what she's gone through, but it speaks to why we need to be active around our Indian Child Welfare Act and why we need to educate each other. I mean, just recently, Dr. Phil was on the TV and was very ignorant. And I wanted to reach to the TV and ask him, how's that working for you? You know, you don't even know what the law is, you know, and misinforming people. So thank you for having the courage today. And she's going to be with a table. These ladies here, I want to thank them for standing with her. And they'll be at one of the tables. If somehow you were touched and maybe you have a relative or you yourself have some questions or you want to be active, join them at their table to speak actively on next steps in dealing with Indian child welfare so this doesn't continue to happen. Thank you again.